In fact, I think I would love this to become a book on tape.
Yes.
But then I think it would be hard for me to listen to it. But maybe not. I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know, because if it's not... That's one of the reasons I had to stop directing professionally, because I would go ballistic internally. If, like, we would rehearse a scene and we'd get it just the way I wanted it to. But then, you know, actors have to make it their own.
Yes, exactly.
And so every time I would go to see a show that I was directing, I would pace behind the audience, back and forth, pacing, because, oh, God, we worked so hard and you didn't do it the way I wanted you to. That's when I realized I really shouldn't be a theater director, because I love actors and I want them to be free to embody what they're doing.
Yes.
And when I'm acting, I want to be able to do that. But it was really hard for me to yield control. So
that's really interesting.
So my options were to become a film director or a writer, and I chose writer.
May I ask why?
Because I'd always been doing it. I just had never shown it to anyone.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. In fact, freshman year of college, I showed my boyfriend, with whom I was in the process of breaking up at the time, like we were just going to be friends, I showed him an excerpt of something I'd written in high school. And he read it and he was an English major and I wasn't, and he was very snarky and condescending and down-putting about it. And it was hugely significant to me about 6 or 7 years later when we had reconnected and become friends. And he said very casually, like it was a given, "You are such a terrific writer." And I realized that, like, I'd been holding on for years to his negative feedback. And that's why I would never have allowed anyone to see anything I wrote. And he was talking about my letters, that we had started a correspondence.
Oh, interesting.
But, like, I needed permission from him, which is ridiculous. You should never let someone have that kind of power over you. But I did.
And so many writers do that.
Yeah. So the minute that he said that I was a good writer, then I was allowed to think of myself as a good writer. I'm not recommending that anyone function that way. That's my sad story.
No, I get that. And I know so many writers for whom that's the case, where, you know, oh, it's just something I do as a hobby. And then some pro or someone you really respect says, oh, this is really good. And you say, oh, maybe I have some talent.
Yeah.
And you're not actually more talented than you were 35 seconds before.
Right, right.
But you feel that
right.
way.
You validated in some way.
I think a lot of people feel like that about getting an agent. That you're not a real writer till you have an agent, or you're not a real writer till you have a book published, which I think anybody who has published knows neither of those things are true at all.
That is just not true, yeah.
And one of the things that I really love about knowing so many writers is that I do know people who are at all levels of writing, and nothing will cure you faster of thinking, oh, only the published people are any good, than knowing a broad range of writers.